starting, and I'm pretty sure we're live now. So I'm going to verify that we are in fact live. I do
Yep,
not
there we
see.
go.
Okay, cool. I don't see it yet for some reason, but
I
we
just got the
should.
little
Oh, there it is.
I got the little message, yeah.
I see it.
Excellent.
And it looks like I'm the only person in, so I'm watching myself
Yeah,
like a
you know what?
retard.
Just give me one sec here and I'm gonna pop in so I can monitor chat.
Oh, so now it's you and me. We're both watching each other.
Is that like the most pathetic thing
Yeah.
imaginable?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, Dan Simmons just showed up. Hey, Dan, how's it going, buddy?
There we go. There we go.
All
Now
right.
now we can be
Well,
respectable.
no matter what happens, we've got Dan Simmons on our side, so I'm very excited about this.
Oh man.
All right,
Well,
cool.
just take me by the hand, Deke, and just lead me to the promised land.
Fair enough. Okay, so today's stream will not be the standard issue where there's a lot of music and me rambling on my own. Instead, there's going to be no music, and I'm going to be rambling with state your name.
Sin
There you go. Nice.
526.
So that's going to be the general platform, and then the subjects discussed are going to be a review in Red Pill, general thoughts that I've had. I assume Sin has several thoughts of his own, and we can go ahead and compare and contrast and think about it. Today, instead of discussing the Red Pill experience of a particular person, the focus, I'd like it to remain as much as is possible on generalities. Excuse me. The casserole that I had, I made it with a bechamel sauce, so it's a little bit mucus forming. It's just fabulous, though.
Yeah, you got a little acidicness going on there, eh?
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Well, it's bechamel, which means that what you do is you take a roux, which is a little bit of flour, a little bit of butter. You fry that up just a touch, and then you add milk to that. And what it
Oh, so it's more of a butter cream sauce.
yeah, it's a white gravy.
Nice.
You'd put
Nice.
that.
Very white of you, Eke.
It is. It is. I like it with a little bit of thyme, basil, and oregano. And again, over in a casserole setting, excuse me, with some potatoes, meat, some mirepoix. It's really good. Anyway,
Very nice.
but I digress. So yeah, I would like to, as much as is possible, stick to the generalities of the Red Pill experience, as opposed to specifics. But of course, specifics when necessary. And the second half of the stream, I would like to just discuss general firearms stuff with someone who actually likely has infinitely more experience than I do, given that I have borderline no experience. So
Well, we'll see.
this is a good opportunity to learn something. So I like it. So that's the plan, man. That's the deal. Let's see
Awesome.
here. In chat, it says, "I'll press 1 to send me a link." Wait, what? What's going on here?
No. We can't let Travis on here. That'll just devolve quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I want this to be.
Maybe Zoe, but definitely not Travis.
We're gonna do because I do actually. Okay, Travis. For the sake of saying so, I would like to have you on to discuss your Red Pill experience. But today I'm going to go ahead and limit this one to just myself and Sin. So DM me though.
Because
Actually,
we're special. Yeah.
yeah, DM me, Travis. I'm going to put down my Twitter. Right.
God damn it. I got to get on Twitter, man.
You're not missing much. Most of it's actually just a lot of bitching and moaning.
It seems like it's just celebrity bullshit, man, for the most part.
Yeah. And I've found that whenever when you at a blue check mark, you're pretty much asking to get a ban. So it's rough business. It's not pleasant if you're into like messing with people. And because I kind of am into messing with people, it's like, yeah, it's weird. And
yeah, I mean that's kind of what we're all about, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
really, to be
a lot of
honest,
it genuinely.
they ought to just call it the troll right.
Yeah, it's that is actually the case. Okay, so I guess I'd like to start off with the recap of the red pill experience and some of my thoughts that I've been mulling over for the past couple of days, just that I can get some impressions from you to see what you think about the general conception.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, man. Shoot. I'm definitely interested to hear what you have to say after
Yeah.
mulling it over for a while.
Um, well, I still view myself as being in the preliminary stages of understanding. So everything is simply, this is a recap of where I am now. That's the way that I'm looking at it. And I think that I'm going to understand more things later. This is just where I am at the moment. Now, the thing that I recall is that it started. I still like the conception of the red pill as basically being a revelation. You go from not knowing to knowing. I think that's the best descriptor I've found so far.
I would
However,
agree.
yeah, when we're discussing the red pill, I think that typically we're referring to either political or societal information, or rather a view, I guess, of either society or of the political structure. So the red pill experience, it's a revelation about a particular style of, or rather, a particular aspect of our experience. That's the way that I'm looking at it at the moment.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's why there's several different red pills, Eke, because it's a red pill for every aspect.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, there's a thing that somebody said, something to the effect of the red pill experience means something different relative to the person that you're speaking to. I think that I was fairly red pilled on the nature of government way back in 2013 when I was just a formal anarchist, no hyphenation, just a regular anarchist. I never bothered with the anarcho-capitalist and the what is it, the anarcho-communist and all this nonsense. Nonsense. I was not into that at all.
Yeah, Nazbol and all that shit.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I regard myself as being fairly red-pilled with regards to government at the time. However, I was certainly not red-pilled with regards to demographics. And in this regard, I
Yeah.
would say that I was still, for want of a better phrasing, just blue-pilled, really, because I was essentially a Kool-Aid drinker, you know, and that's just the way that it
Yeah,
was.
you were just guzzling that fucking Kool-Aid, Eke.
Oh yes, I bathed in it twice a day, behind the ears and everything. And so I like to think about I like to think about the process of how I went from ignorance to knowledge. And I do think that there's something to the idea that it's not you you technically do red pill yourself. Information is given to you, but it's like the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. On a
Yeah,
certain
I believe I threw that down on a chat at some point, but it's yeah, that's super accurate, man.
Yeah, it seems as though, in a way, what we're looking to do is lead the horse to water and induce it to drink, which requires that, I mean, first there has to be a source of water. You have to get the horse to get thirsty. There's a lot of things that need to be lined up in order to get your freaking horse to drink the water.
I think the sum up on that thought is that the conditions have to be ripe, more or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. So the reverse engineering project is more or less what it would look like to artificially create the necessary conditions for a red pilling experience so that so that you can sort of induce that experience. I mean, you can't
Hmm.
force it on the person because the person has to do the red pilling themselves. They're the ones that have to reform their worldview. They're the ones that have to truly understand that they were wrong and then decide that they wish to be right, or decide that, rather, they have to understand that they were ignorant and then decide to wish to know more. I think that's a better way of putting it.
Do
Because
you want
sometimes,
to know more?
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes it's a matter of you were wrong. This has happened to me at least once or twice. where I had a certain view of the world, and it turned out I was wrong. And it's difficult, really difficult, especially for a person like me, because I'm really hard-headed. I am a contrarian. It's awful. For some people, it's difficult to admit that you're wrong. But if you're capable of admitting that you're wrong, then a lot of things open up, and that's
I,
fantastic.
I would I would say that for most people, it's difficult to admit that you're wrong.
You know?
I know it is for me, for sure. I will cling desperately to something, even if I have a pretty strong inkling that it is, in fact, not necessarily wrong. I mean, something that's outright wrong is kind of one thing, but flawed is another thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like if you can pin down, if you can, to use your term, if you can reverse engineer or prove that what you believe or thought is wrong, it's easier to discard it than if you just kind of have this suspicion, sorry,
yeah,
suspicion that it's wrong, but can't necessarily prove why.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just a thought. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, for sure. That's a thing that I ended up going through with. Oh, what was it? There was something. I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but I have the vague memory of being formally wrong about something. That's okay. Yeah, I haven't thought about this in a while. I was wrong about the Islam question, and I used to think because I was a Civ Nash. This is back in 2015. There were a bunch of because I used to be an anarchist, and of course, as an anarchist, you're going to go to Reddit because that's where anarchists go. And I hung out especially on, I believe it was R anarcho capitalism. There were
Yeah,
several.
a wretched hive of scum and villainy, indeed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, now I wouldn't regard it as a wretched hive of scum and villainy so much as a bunch of butterballs, just kind of bland people that talk about things theoretically, but fundamentally they're not really about anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
they've ate so much tofu at this point that they're becoming the tofu.
yeah, it was rough business, very rough business. Um, the the issue was that there were a lot of NRXs that were going on there, and these guys they would put all of us to shame in terms of their enthusiasm, let's say. And they kept pushing demographics. I think what's happened with what we may term the alt-right is that now that there's more of us that have been sort of catching on to it, there's less of a frenzy. There's less of an emotional push, the evangelical push of frantically trying to get the word out. I think what happened back in 2015 is there were so few of them that they just wanted to try to get the word out, and they were doing everything and anything possible just to get a response. And for myself, I decided, because I was still Civnash at the time, I decided to simply say, no, but these guys are obviously racist, so we're going to not discuss any of this at all. The end, done. I don't have to take any of this seriously. And
Yeah, yeah,
shortly,
you're definitely onto something there. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, for sure. Just that shortly after, I think maybe 4 or 5 months later, that's when the Cologne incident happened. And that gave me pause. I had to really rethink basically
It
everything.
gave you unpause, Eke. It gave you unpause.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So my conception, rather, the way that I'm looking at it. Oh, hey, Babs, by the way, what's going on? Um, my conception is that you have to create a situation in which a person must question their worldview. I think that's the critical thing. I really think that's the critical thing. Because if a person doesn't question their worldview, then you can give them all the information in the world and they will reject it. I wasn't questioning my worldview. So, in the 2015 context, I was not questioning my worldview. And I think that the Cologne incident is what opened up a question mark. It opened up a nice, neat little area of I don't know. And that's when I decided
Yeah,
to really look into things and question my worldview. And it suggests that there's actually not an yeah. It basically means that it's not in your control. That it's impossible to completely induce a red pill experience without some kind of an event that's probably going to be out of your control, unless we're talking about directly manipulating people, which seems really freaking cynical. And it's also
Mm,
a closed loop
yeah.
system. I don't like that.
So let me just say one thing here, okay? As far as the going with what we were saying the last time, uh, you know, the whole cologne incident. I mean, for you, it's cologne. For me, it was just kind of the greater migrant crisis. But I think we kind of pretty well established that, you know, going with what you're saying is that it requires a shock um, to your system in order to create that question mark, is, so to speak, is what you were saying. So, um, it's almost like to me, I'm just going to throw this out here. Uh, Part of, I know that people in the chat, hell, myself, I think even you, dude, would agree that we're really kind of hungry for solutions at this point. We
Yeah.
kind of know the problems, and really we're looking for what do we do. Um, but so, and this is, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I will say that I think in terms of creating artificial conditions, if you will, to try to make red pilling as easy as possible, or not even as easy, but just uh, as possible as possible, uh, is perhaps as simple as focusing on the most shocking instances or events that there are.
Well, but I've
Uh,
I've tried to do that. The problem with that is that I've found that you end up with the person repels against what you're saying, and then you end up working against yourself. I've tried doing that in real life. There
mm,
have been a few times where I've attempted to do exactly what you're describing, and the most I've been able to do is get a person to say, "Okay, Lux, I hear what you're saying," and I've gotten. I'm thinking of a couple of instances, interestingly, both with women. One of them simply, left. They just
yeah,
rate like in
shut
real life.
shut down. Did she
Exactly.
just read and basically left, right?
Correct. And
Yeah.
I'm referring to in real life. I'm not talking about online experiences. I'm talking about physical space.
Yeah. Face to face. I got you.
Correct. And one of them rage quitted IRL, as where the other one, I was able to get this person to question, but only just that. And they ended up reverting right back to both of these are older women, by the way. Both of these are boomers. And the one that sort of half questioned her worldview, she went right back to her normal standard pause thinking.
Well, they ran back to comfort.
Yeah, yeah,
They saw a deep they saw a looming precipice, and they said, "Nope, not for me."
yeah, yeah. I think okay. Well, all right. If we look at it from that standpoint, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Then one way of thinking about it would be to create almost like a cushion so that
Or
the
some
leap of
stairs. We've got to carve some stairs into the side of that cliff, basically.
yeah, yeah, there has to be
There has to be a way that they can see to make it down to the bottom of that valley without seemingly killing themselves in the process.
yeah, yeah, because it does come down to kind of a leap of faith.
Yes.
Um, and for some reason, um, oh, here, hold on one second. Travis Hund, if you friend me,
Please invite him. Please invite Travis.
yeah, I'm going to invite him. Travis, send me a tweet at me on Twitter, and I'll reply, and then I'll follow you, and then you can DM me. Um, the the idea of having a pillow or a staircase or a bridge appeals to me because what you do, yeah, exactly as you're saying, you make it easier for going through with a leap of faith. For reasons that I don't really understand, I was very willing to take that leap of faith. And I'm kind of wondering if there is something about me or people like me, I guess people like you, people like us, who are willing to take that leap of faith. It occurred to me the other day that there's the possibility that we're always going to be a very select minority and it will never ever breach just a certain percentage of the population, in which case you end up very quickly moving towards, okay, fine, so you're not going to red pill the masses, which is fine. At that point in time, you're talking about dealing with the value sets and lives and information sets of other people, and I guess propaganda, just normal propaganda, getting the word
Yeah,
out. So to,
I'm kind of on board with that, to be honest with you, Eke, at this point, that I don't know if we're ever going to truly be able to, you know, mass red pill the normies. I think throughout history, if you look at it, I mean, the Nazis, and I use that term, the National Socialists in Germany never really had widespread support. I mean, they had support, but the membership was not. I think the number is somewhere around 12%. So
yeah.
uh, I don't know if we really. I think what we're going to end up with is we're going to end up with a core of truly red pilled people that are, and I hate to use this term, but I'm going to because there's no other alternative, which is that I think it's going to end up being a small core of truly red pilled people, more or less manipulating the greater masses.
Yeah, in this regard, it makes sense to think about the things that I think it was Greg Johnson was talking about, basically a neo aristocracy, an elite group that would be calling shots, so to speak. And I have mixed feelings about that for various reasons. Um, yeah, I could see a situation like that. I find it unfortunate because, in a way, what one really quickly goes to is, in my view, what seems like a recreation of the court of Louis XIV, where you basically have like something like a monarch, and then you've got an aristocracy that acts as an intermediary on behalf of the population relative to the sovereign. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, that's
Yeah, I get your hesitance on that because I share it to a large degree, but at the same time, I mean, let's be honest. At some point, things have to get to a point where somebody. Uh, let me walk that back for a second. What I'm really trying to say is that I think that at some point there is going to be someone who is further ahead than everyone else in terms of the intellectual position and the vision, for lack of a better term, going forward.
yeah,
People are really hungry for that. They're really, if they're honest with themselves, a lot of them are looking for that quite desperately. That's partly the reason why Patrick Little is such a thing um, at the moment, and had been and is to still to some extent. But
yeah.
because people are really looking for that, they're looking for that Führer to lead them into those
Mhm.
greener pastures. And it's partly a cop out. People I think really do want. They want someone to take them by the hand and show them, the way. And that's I think that almost kind of ties in with the fact that people. It's been discovered that people are more or less hardwired for religion and authoritarianism to a lack, to an extent. So I don't know if we're ever going to be able to get away from that, even if it's
Yeah.
maybe distasteful to us at this point.
That was one of the reasons, not one of the reasons. No, it was one of the reasons. That's right, because it was two. I abandoned anarchism for two reasons. The first was that I completely concur. I think we are hardwired for hierarchical systems. not individually, but on a net level. I, for example, am not too keen on hierarchical systems that are involuntary. I have no problems with voluntary hierarchical systems. If I agree to participate, then yes, I will give it my all, with the single exception that if I find myself disagreeing, then I will leave. I will stop being a part of it. But I understand that I'm abnormal in that regard. I know that I'm abnormal, and if everyone was like me, I mean, I don't know if society would function. So,
Well, dude, don't feel too bad because I feel the exact same way. I'm pretty sure that if it was all me's, things would fall
yeah,
apart quite quickly.
no good, exactly. And yeah, so it suggests that there is a necessity for, oh God, this sounds so condescending. In my 20s, I ended up coming up with a phrase that just went into my head for no reason at all. And I refer to these people as button pushers. To me, they're button pushers. We need button pushers. We have to have them.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, in the olden days, they were the people out working the fields. The serfs, the
yeah,
people that didn't really have much else except their two hands and a minimally functioning brain. Uh, and,
yeah,
and that's just a fact of reality. So
yeah,
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. My father actually said stuff like that quite often. Button pushers and such. When
yeah,
you're in the military, you're kind of forced to, kind of accept things for what they are because you're kind of stuck with it. So I
yeah,
think, yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. 100%. I think you're onto that. Yeah, don't feel too bad because describing reality for what it is something we all kind of need to relearn how to do
yeah.
to get away from some of this paused madness. A lot of what we call pause is just willful denial of reality.
Yeah.
So,
Social
yeah.
pushers. And one, well, I guess, okay, what was I going to think of? Oh, yeah, briefly, I think that we should respect the button pushers. I think that we should respect these people as much as is possible. They
We
do
we
deserve,
need them.
exactly. And, well, number one, we need them. And number two, I mean, just because we regard them as being, simple or ignorant or whatever, doesn't mean that we should rob them of their dignity. They should be treated with human decency. So one of the reasons that I'm reticent to call them any, too callous of a name is just because, good God, I was basically one of them for most of my life. I
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
magically got out of the situation, and I
Well,
can't help but think I must extend that decency to other people.
here's another thought, Eke, which is kind of relevant to this, which is that button pushers, they can quite easily and readily become trigger pullers. So
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know that's especially, and I hate to say this, I don't want to I don't want to get too black pilled, particularly since we're about to talk about weapons, but you know in times of old, and even now still, you really do need to respect these people
Yeah,
because they can quite easily decide to, in the olden days, it was put down the hoe and the pitchfork and grab the sword. Now it's put down the smartphone and pick up the gun. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's my greatest fear. That is my greatest fear. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say hello to Travis. Travis, hello.
Hello, Travis.
Is Travis there?
Hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
We're good, man.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Your audio is just a touch low, by the by.
How's it right now?
Much better.
Better.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you
That's
could bring it up
okay.
even a bit from there, that'd be great. You there?
And the
Yeah, I'm
dead
here.
air.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's even better still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm
That's real
hoping
good.
my. Okay.
Continue,
So
man.
what are your thoughts? Well, actually, I want to get back to, because this is actually sort of a diversion from the red pill concept.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to get back to that, because for me the goal is still on a basic level, even if we assume that there's only a certain percentage of the population that may be red pilled or is red pillable.
Can I diverge?
Sure, I'd like to relate it to the red pill experiment.
Yeah. I'd like to bring up a concept. I'd like benevolent propaganda versus malevolent propaganda, and
Ooh.
I would like to. I would like to just kind of interject that. And what do you think?
That's exactly what I'm doing. That's literally what my project is right now.
He read your mind, dude.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay,
We got some mind readers in the chat.
I genuinely think that this is. There are certain situations and circumstances that are happening on a net level. My apologies. I don't know why my throat is doing weird stuff today.
Quit dying, Eke. Seriously, dude, we need you.
Sorry. Well, okay.
You don't want to end up like Brundlefly's lungs.
No, God, no. We are in a situation where there are situations that are popping up, and I think that there are kinds of solutions that naturally present themselves. This, I think, is why the propaganda concept is media in general has been hyped and discussed quite a lot, because it's obvious. You want to get the word out. How are you going to get the word out? Are you going to print a bunch of brochures? Are you going to try to go pamphleteering at your local mini mall? Are you going to knock on doors like an idiot and be like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a moment for Jesus Christ?" It doesn't work like that. And whether we like it or not, we do live in a society where most of our media, we consume it through a combination of like movies and video games and TV shows, magazines, things like that.
We'll see. So, Eke, can I jump in here real quick?
Sure.
This is why I feel like memes, and I mean the limited sense of the word, the funny images and JPEGs, with added text and MS Paint variations. I think that is one of the reasons why that has been so effective in terms of propaganda, because it is congruent with the culture. It doesn't require a lot of attention span. It doesn't require a lot of deep thought or dwell time. It's just a funny little image with maybe some text that has, relevance to what's being conveyed, but is short enough that it enters a person's mind almost subliminally. Just by virtue of seeing it, they're able to kind of intake at least some of the message. It's things have to be, I think, in order to be effective in terms of propaganda, because that's what we're really talking about here. It has to be.
Sorry.
Yo, yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something? I think that to be effective, it has to be humor.
Yes, that's what I was going for. I was saying it has to be funny, it has to be light, and it has to really just kind of be quick and easy for people to digest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was my thought.
That's actually one of the reasons why I ended up on the path that I am now, was very much in part because of the great meme war of 2016.
Oh, God.
I mean,
that was such a great Murdoch episode, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened. In its own weird way, that's what happened.
You know what's funny? Eke, did you see that video before you were really like completely red-pilled? Because
No,
I did.
I've only seen a couple of Murdoch episode.
Dude,
after I was red-pilled.
Yeah, no. Check this out. See, this is funny because this is part of a kind of a small collection. I don't want to take too much time. I'll just say that I saw the great meme war of 2016 episode of Murdoch before I was like 100% red pilled, and it was funny because it didn't, nothing in it was shocking or like freaked me out in any sort of way. Like it wasn't like that one video I was telling you about where it was the British National Socialists giving their speech,
Oh
where
yeah.
it freaked me the fuck out as soon as they said the word. So yeah, no, it's weird how and it's same thing with some of the music. I listened to a couple Jurius tracks or Zurius, I'm not sure how to say it, but I caught a few of those again before I really knew what the fuck I was actually
Oh,
You
yeah,
have to
that's
ask
right.
yourself.
I'm sorry, what was that, Travis?
I mean, you have to ask yourself, what's more important, facts or humor?
I would say impact is really the most important.
Yeah, it can go with either fact or humor, depending. It depends on the context, I think,
That's a good point. Yes.
because there are certain instances in which so early on humor was what got me, and then later on it was facts that got me. So the demographics thing, and especially race realism in particular, that was 100% fact driven. That's what got me. But by that point, I was already amenable to what I guess we could call the red pill experience, because I consciously made the decision to look into Islam and to examine the entire situation as thoroughly as I possibly could.
See,
And
this is what we were saying, Eke, about conditions. That the conditions have to be right.
yeah,
You find that there's an art towards propaganda, because I do.
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah,
Eke, somebody needs to write the book, The Art of the Red Pill.
yeah, right, yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, I firstly, I hope someone does, and secondly, I hope that these streams are instrumental in someone putting something together like that. I mean,
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to fucking step up to the plate, man.
yeah,
Shit.
whether it's anyone actually watching this stream right now, or maybe someone later on, I don't know, or maybe someone who's watching these streams will remember everything and they'll talk to someone who ends up doing it. I don't know.
There you go. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm just interested in the exploration itself. And this stream, by the way, is going to remain up because it's a part of the Red Pill series. So just so we're on the same page, I'm not going to be editing this. So don't dox yourselves, don't dox each other. Okay, very good.
Try to keep the K and N words to a minimum.
That's correct.
And
We want this
also,
to be on the up and up, so to speak. Because
and
this
also understand that
yeah,
when you push words out of your mouth or on the internet, you're you're pushing propaganda towards other people, and you need to understand that this can be influential to other people, especially if if it's humorous.
yeah.
It's very impact. It has like, I can't even explain the impact humor has on people. If you can be funny,
Yeah. What's that saying?
are-
Isn't there a saying about that?
Yeah, something about telling the truth. You'll
that's
get
what I'm trying
Something
to do.
like laughter is the way to let the goyim have their defenses let down.
yeah.
That's the saying.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of humor as well. But at the same time, you can also go in the opposite direction, and you can adopt a serious tone and still have a great impact. I just think that it's a matter of context, inflection, execution. Basically, it's how you do it. I think that's the big key.
But I'm sorry, but be aware of those people that will try to infiltrate your serious context. You know what I'm saying?
That's always the case.
Always be
Like El Rosso
vigilant.
Mofoso, for instance.
Oh yeah, Babs, you're asking about an instance of this?
Yeah, what about El Rosso Mofoso? Would he be an example of this?
El Rosso Mofoso? I don't know that guy. Who is that?
Yeah, I don't know him either, man.
Travis, are you
I have
Who are you
familiar?
talking
never
about,
heard of
Babs?
that person. I have no idea.
What about? Okay, never mind.
Babs just went super esoteric. That's fine.
Yeah, he
El
went
Rosa
full on
Mofosa?
hen on us
Well,
there.
I was thinking of like El Rosa Mofosa, Brundle, Brundlefly's wife, Kevin's lungs, stuff like that.
Oh, like the
yeah,
sock account shit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Brundlefly was just kidding.
yeah. There's
I totally disavow sock accounts. I would never do that.
yeah.
I think personally that shit is funny as hell. Like that's just me, but I think it's fucking hilarious.
Brundlefly's wife,
Yeah,
space
you know
black
what?
lungs.
Well, laughing is degenerate.
Brundlefly's lungs are probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Just because it's just, I mean, his fucking laugh, dudes. His laugh. I mean, like, has he
has a
smoked
smoker
like
laugh.
3 packs of cigarettes a fucking a day for the last like 25 years? Like, seriously.
He does sound like that.
I mean, like, Jesus, I don't know, dudes. But anyway, okay, we gotta
Hey,
rein
man,
this
I
in,
don't
buddy.
know who's doing that. That's fucking
Yeah.
crazy, though.
Oh, yeah, actually, I do want to rein it in. You're right. Yeah, I've come all the way to the conclusion that we're going to get subverted. We're going to have infiltrators. People are going to be looking at us, and it's entirely possible that I'm going to get a knock on a door at some point.
They're here now, dude.
No,
They're here
don't
now.
end, man.
Well,
Yo,
Don't
Duvid's
end it.
roommate is
Don't
here
end.
for you.
No,
I'm just saying, it's going to happen.
don't end
It's
the
gonna
stream
happen.
yet, man.
Hey, I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying it's going to happen. That's all I'm saying. I was checking something out a little while ago, and there was some story that was recanted. Something about this guy. He went to some kind of a weird militia out in the outback or whatever.
Oh man.
And there ended up being a situation where somebody got it in their head that they were going to go ahead and do some kind of violent activity or something. And then more and more of the militia members, they started getting on board with this violent activity. I don't remember. It's like planting a bomb or something like that. And the word got around in the militia that there was going to be a raid in like 1 or 2 weeks. And so this guy, he went to the meeting before the raid was supposed to happen. The raid happened right then and there as he was at that particular meeting. And it came out that the head of the militia was actually a Fed, and that there were several members that were in the sheriff's department. There were 1 or 2 that were in some other 3-letter agency that I don't recall. So basically, the majority of the militia was actually a honeypot of various agencies that were all unknowingly gaming each other, and the whole thing got buried out of embarrassment.
Yeah, this is why I stay the fuck away from militias.
Press 1 if SA Lux has the best radio voice on the internet.
Oh, dude. Hold on 1 second. But I gotta press 1 for that.
So, at any rate, yeah, the idea that I'm going for is only that we're going to get infiltrators, and I'm not gonna lose too much sleep over that. The only thing you can really do is just be above board on basically everything, so long as you're not doing anything either immoral or, more importantly, illegal.
Yeah. All you got to do, Eke, when it comes to subversion and that sort of honeypot bullshit like that, is just remember the meme, hey kid, want to blow up a federal building? I mean, seriously, that's all you need to do. You just have to remember that meme, and you will be more or less immune to the worst effects of subversion. I mean, yeah, you might be subverted. You might have some fucking feds in your little group, but if you're acutely aware of anyone that advocates for, illegal activities or violent activities, if you really keep in mind that those people are, 90% of the time they're feds. You can pretty well protect yourself from that from the worst case scenario of that. So
the way that I like to think of it really is the guy that's advocating violence. That's the guy that you look out for, because he's one of 2 things. He's either retarded or he's a Fed, one or the other.
Yeah.
And in either case, you should not be following that guy.
Now, mind you, I like the right-wing death squad memes. I mean, you know this, Eke. I really do.
It's funny. It's
but
really
at the
fun.
same time, for me, it's more of a I really want people to be. It's not so much that I want them to go out and take violent action. I want people to be prepared for the possibility of resisting violent action against them. That's why I like those
Yeah.
memes.
Yeah, I liked exactly. I'm in more or less the same boat. My thought pattern with regards to that is that I don't want to engage in violence, but if violence is visited upon me, I'm gonna have no choice but to defend myself or die. It's one or the other. And that's the only reason that I think in those terms. But yeah, basically the RWDS to me is just it's a meme and it's a funny meme and I think it's hilarious and I find it unfortunate that I that has to stay basically online. Like that can't go out into real life. Like if I started talking about that in real life, I'd sound like such a weirdo. Everyone would look at me
Yeah,
like I'm a
well,
freak.
yeah, no. Okay, I'm with you 100%. But for me, it's the thing I like about the right wing, the RWDS is the armor. That's, I'm literally considering starting a channel, and I might call it the something along the lines of like the alt right armor, uh, and it's just gonna be all about my project to create real functional uh, RWDS armor, essentially, because I kind of have a plan of how to do that, and I've been actually legit working on it for quite some time now.
Oh,
So,
this is Travis's sock account. Oh, now I understand what's going on. Okay.
oh no,
No, no, no, no, no. I
no,
said
no.
many times before, my name is Jafar. I come from afar.
Okay.
There's a bomb in the car.
Allahu Akbar!
Jesus Christ.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's too much.
Um,
It's just too much.
And now I'm kicking. Gone.
Oh no.
Babs, please don't do that.
Remove kebab, dude. Just remove kebab.
Yeah, Babs, please don't do that.
Physically remove.
Yeah, because I like you, Babs, but if you do that again, I will eject you. Just okay. But anyway, yeah.
So where the hell are we at? Okay, we were talking about red pills, and then Jafar showed up and fucking blew himself up, and now we just don't even know.
Well, I guess this is a convenient time to go into the K portion of the stream because why not?
Ah, yes, excellent, dude. Yeah, I've been waiting.
Yeah. So now that I have a person off of whom I may bounce ideas, my thought pattern for personal defense, and I speak for myself. I'm in California. We can't have anything here. It's awful.
Yeah, you can't have any fun at all, man.
Yeah, like my ideal for concealed carry would be a Glock 43. Now, getting a CCW in California is fantastically difficult. In Los Angeles, it's near impossible. I'm going to try, but it's very difficult. And even if I was to get a CCW, I still must choose from the roster. And my thinking, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, just for the sake of it. I mean, I'm still going to do what I do regardless, but
just for fun, man. I get it.
To hear, yeah. My thinking is that a 9mm shield would basically be ideal for just a standard carry. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, my thoughts are I'm with you more or less 100% on that. Given your restrictions, I mean, like, listen, man. Here's the deal. I'm not a huge fan of, the subcompact variety of concealed carries, and I say that because I've followed a lot of gun gurus, for lack of a better word, that made the case quite strongly and quite irrefutably that a concealed carry weapon is more or less useless to you if you don't know or are uncomfortable with handling it. And so if you have a small, tiny, single stack subcompact that you can barely get your hands around, and you don't. And this is kind of where training comes in, because you can train with something and become proficient at it pretty much no matter what. So, training is kind of the equalizer here. But
Yeah.
it is not necessarily ideal for actual combat use, for lack of a better term. I mean, there are weapons that are more amenable to actual gunfighting than these little
Right.
micro pistols. However, given your conditions, given your situation, with the insane unconstitutional laws that you're under, it's more or less your best option, man. I mean, look, you don't really have a lot of options, okay? You know this. The Shield 9 mil or equivalent, a single stack, subcompact, automatic. Your only other options are basically snub nose revolvers,
Yeah.
and you're only going to get a maximum of 5 or 6 rounds in a reasonably concealable form factor. So yeah, no, I'm kind of, so that was a super long-winded way to say yes, I think the Shield is probably your best bet,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's
'Cause
also a good manufacturer. Smith and Wesson really can't be beat.
yeah. Well, my thought was the alternative would be the Glock 26, because with the 26, basically you've got full access to all magazines. You have something that is super duper reliable and relatively light. It's not that much heavier than the Shield, and you also get the benefit of a couple of extra rounds. The penalty is that it's wider, so it's going to be bulkier and a little incrementally more difficult to conceal. So it's kind of a trade-off. And the only reason that I ended up thinking about the Shield is because I opted for the weight weenie mindset and the slim mindset. So with a combination of a few extra, or rather a few less ounces, and
Yeah,
the ability to wear something that's not a parka.
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, there's two thoughts for you on that, which is that, number one, the old Marine Corps saying, ounces equals pain. uh, you know, that is true, man. And the other thought that goes along with that is that, uh, the more the more comfortable it is to actually carry your weapon, the more likely you are to do it. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah, so that's a major thing. And so, yeah, no, while you might consider it paused to think of comfort above function when it comes to your CCW, it actually is, it is somewhat based, to consider the idea that you're going to have to carry this fucking thing, and
yeah,
you're not going to want to do it if it's this giant hunk of steel
yeah,
protruding off of your hip. So, yeah, again, I think you're on the right track with the pistol,
yeah.
um, as far as that goes. So, yeah, no, I don't really have too much advice to give you on that, other than whatever you do, train, shoot the fucking thing.
Yeah, that's actually a consideration at the moment. My current pistol is my sort of trainer, just the one that kind of I bought
Yeah,
to
your
have.
little 22 plinker.
Correct, and it's weirdly a touch bigger than the Shield, which I think is funny. Um, but it's fine for my purposes for now. It's not really a big deal. Um, but yeah, the thinking is that I want to go ahead and just get used to this little guy, and then immediately after, yeah, I really like the. I want to get to a range. I want to get or out into the desert or something, just so that I can get a bunch of, what is it, like soda pop cans, some watermelons or pumpkins or whatever it is, and then just go for it. That seems like it'd be kind
Yeah,
of a
dude. Skip the range. Ranges are gay. The rules suck.
yeah,
Just go to the desert.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, Eke. You're in the middle of fucking LA, so
Getting to the desert
it's
is
not
hard.
exactly easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly easy. So once again, this is another one of those like, if it's easy, you're more likely to do it. So, yeah, if you can find like a local range that's, close by, that's easy to get to, that you can kind of like work into your otherwise daily routine, then
Impossible.
yeah, go for that for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how easy that is out
It's
there.
really hard because here in Los Angeles, there are only two major ranges,
Oh
both of
God.
which are in like really awkward places. And it's like, well, all right, so you go there and then it's pretty much guaranteed to be off the beaten path. Because there are only two of them, it's incredibly likely that you will have to, and in my case, this is true, that you will have to go like 7 or 10 or at worst like 14 miles out of your way to get to one of these ranges. It's just terrible. It's just awful. And my thinking at the moment is that what I'll probably end up doing is, and I don't like it, but I don't see any way out of it. I think that one of the reasons that I wanted to go with the Shield is because everything that I know about it, everything that I've read about it, everything that I've seen about it, is that it's pretty reliable no matter what you do to it. It doesn't have like that beat the crap out of it and it works like the Glock, but it's not too far off. Like you can still kind of abuse it a little bit. So the way that I'm
Yeah, it's a pretty reliable firearm, dude, for sure.
yeah,
It's not a cheap Chinese piece of crap. So
yeah. And I'm looking at it as something that I'm probably just gonna have, unfortunately, on my bedstand, totally unused for months at a time, just because
well,
it's
see, that's what you've got to avoid, man. You
I
have to
know.
avoid that because that you can have a gun, but if you're not familiar, it's like a woman, Eke. You've got to make love to it
I love this
regularly, or
bug.
else it just doesn't work for you, buddy.
You gotta take her out. You gotta oil her up. You gotta make sure
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
happy.
You got to lube her up and run a
You gotta
few,
feed. You gotta
run
feed
a
her good
few
stuff.
pellets through her, man.
Yeah. The big thing, rather, I think one way of dealing with that situation would be to just get friends, and go out as sort of like a little group and just be like, hey guys, all right, so
You,
one of
you
us is
need
going to
what
load.
you need to do, Eke, is you need to just get the fuck out of California, come to Arizona, and go shooting with me, dude.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
I think about leaving this state all the time. It's terrible.
Christ,
And
I don't blame you, dude.
the worst part is, okay, so I go to another state and it's going to happen, right? All the other freaking Californians have already gone to those states. The cancer is
Yeah,
spreading. It's
yeah, no, that
spreading.
actually is happening. I mean, dude, I say come here. This is we're just as fucked. We're just
Yeah,
we're just a few years behind, but we're
dude.
we're heading in that direction, dude.
Yeah, exactly. This is the problem, is that if I were to move, I would be going from not from the frying pan into the fire. I'd be going from the frying pan into a different frying pan,
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's true. No, what we both need to do, Eke, is we need to both fucking go to either Utah or Idaho or some other similarly
I've heard,
non-paused
yeah,
location.
but I heard that Idaho is starting to go that direction too. Apparently, Idaho is the number one growing state in population at the moment, and a
Hmm.
lot of it is because of California exodus.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's got the reputation for being a nice place. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that tends to happen.
if I recall correctly, I think it was Twin Rapids in Idaho. They had that
Twin Falls, I
Twin
think.
Falls. You know what I'm about to talk about, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that incident of a little girl who was molested, possibly raped, though I don't recall, and it was recorded, and it was by a couple of Iraqi kids or something. So
Yeah, I
it's already
think,
happened.
yeah. Were they Iraqi or Somali, dude?
If I recall correctly, one or two, the one who recorded it was Iraqi, and I think it was like him and his brother, and then another one, but I don't recall the other one.
I think, yeah, I think you're right. I read about that shit, and then I put it out of my mind because that shit makes me want to that
Yeah.
shit makes me want to do things that the feds would like to know about.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you me,
So
I'm well aware, man. It's just
so yeah, dude. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say it's just really unfortunate. I don't want to have to deal with it. And one
Yeah.
of the reasons
No, me neither, man.
I'm so keen on getting my CCW really is because I don't see myself leaving Los Angeles anytime soon. And once those Somalis get here, 41,000, man, 41K are going to be here.
Fuck.
Then essentially there's going to be an entire section of the city that is completely off limits to me. And if
Okay,
this,
you gotta stop worrying about the weapon and start worrying more about the ammunition,
yeah,
mainly the amount, because you're gonna
well,
need a lot, buddy.
this is one of the reasons why I really like the idea of the shield because this is going to sound really weird, but in an actual emergency, the shield as opposed to the Glock, in an actual emergency situation. Okay, so for the people who may or may not know, California is restricted to 10 rounds, and that's all you can get, which means that even if you get yourself a Glock 19 or a Glock 17, you're still restricted to the artificial 10 round limit. So those super special magazines designed just for California. And with the shield, you get close to California capacity. You get 7 and 8 rounds, but there's a mag guts innards that you can get for the shield to get it to 9 rounds, which means that you can carry damn close to California capacity. So carrying a shield and one extra magazine means that you basically have approximately half of a duty pistol. And in an actual emergency situation, you should be able to do a quick reload with the dropping of steel on steel, the magazine and the internal of the what is it, the magwell. The magazine slides right out. As with the Glock, it's not as clean, so you can get slightly faster reloads with the shield. And the
Yeah,
thinking on my part,
that's called drop free, by the way. Okay.
drop free, yeah. So yeah, the thinking is just that within the context of like an actual situation, I think, and I stress think, italicized think, I would be doing okay with a shield, probably. I'd be able to get off a couple of shots and run like a crazy person. That's what I would do.
Yeah, well, so here's another thought for you, man, real quick. I want to throw out to you, which is that, when you're talking about the CCW, and you're focused on the pistol. Uh, the other thing that I want to take the opportunity to throw out to you is that, when it comes to being prepared, because I think this is kind of what this is about. This is about being prepared because you know the storm is coming. You know that those Somalis are coming, and there's
That's
already
really
plenty
fun.
of violent fucking third worlders there already. So, here's the thing, man. A shield is good, but one of the things that you got to remember is that one of the primary kind of sayings out there in the gun community, for lack of a better term, the active self-protection community, is that your handgun is mainly, you really want to use your handgun to fight to your rifle,
Yeah.
because the rifle at the end of the day is how you really prosecute a actual situation. I was going
Yeah.
to say campaign, but so I heard you talk about wanting to get, or thinking about getting a Mini 14. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think that that's a great idea personally, because I think the ergonomics. This is kind of, for me, this is kind of out of my gourd because I live in a free state, at least for now, that allows me to own a regular AR. But
You're lucky,
I
dude.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I know. I'm so sorry for you, dude. I really am. But on that note, man, listen, I really do think that the ergonomics of a regular rifle grip style, Mini 14 or similar weapons, SKS would be your other option. Although I would recommend a Mini 14 just for the ammo and the magazine compatibility with.
Actually, I decided that I'm gonna go with a fight light. I'm gonna go with a fight light, and it's an AR that was designed very specifically for California,
Yeah, I
Jersey.
know Fight Light, dude. I know them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's about as expensive as a Mini 14, but it's a full pound lighter, and because of the AR magazines, you can just pick them up. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true.
So
Okay, well, right on. But nonetheless, dude, the point it doesn't matter really. But the point is that I would definitely encourage you. In fact, I would urge you to consider getting a rifle, because if things really get bad to the point where you really need a firearm, more so than just for the random, street mugging or any other sort of situation that I'm sure you could encounter any day currently. If things actually get serious, you're going to need a rifle.
yeah,
There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You're going to need a rifle. So
yeah,
I definitely just want to urge you, because look, man, I like you, and I'd like for you to not end up dead.
yeah.
So yeah,
I still think that
I,
the general pattern is going to be one of general stability. However, because the trajectory of California actually is moving towards third world status, uh, what I am what I am seeing at the moment is that I'm probably going to end up seeing the last dying days of California as being a livable Southern California as being a livable place for people like me. And I think I'm going to end up moving at some point. It's just a question of where, under what circumstances and conditions. And between now and then, I do want to have basic self-protection just in case some weird thing happens. I don't expect anything too crazy, but yeah, I do want what I term as a rooftop Korean rifle. That's what I want, and that's why I want an AR, because it would just be the simplest thing possible.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. The rooftop Korean rifle. This is the rooftop Lux rifle right here.
Yeah, it's something quick and it's actually kind of funny too because I don't like the really chunky, blocky things. I actually genuinely do like the look of the Mini 14, the steel with the wood stock. I love that look. I think it looks fabulous.
Me too, man. I really love that old ranch rifle look.
Yeah, it looks great. I would love to have one of those things, but just something about having the magazine compatibility and many of the other parts. The fight light, because of the proprietary bolt, obviously there are going to be some restrictions for moving parts around should the need arise. But most of it's going to be fairly compatible with other AR parts. And you have the cheaper magazines, and it's like, yeah, and plus the pound lighter, like, oh my God, it's so
Yeah,
hard
I
not to
can't
say
really
yes
argue
to
with
it.
that, man. I mean, you really do want compatibility as much as possible. I mean, you got to consider if any of your rifles, parts, God forbid, for the most part, this isn't really a concern, but in a shit at the fan, WROL type situation, which I'm with you. I don't know exactly how likely that is, but at the same time, I think you got to be at least somewhat cognizant of that. So yeah, uh, if you can get an AR that is functional, that is legal for your fucked up communist state, I'd say go that route. But I do love the aesthetics of that fucking steel and wood look, man.
That looks beautiful.
That's just sweet. But that's one of the reasons why I want that lever action, dude. A 357 carbine,
Oh
lever
yeah.
action, dude. That's on my list, man. I'd really like to own one of those.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, like, no kidding, that it would be super cool to get an 1894 in 357 and like a Smith and Wesson 586. That way you've got
Ooh, yeah,
pretty much like the ultimate cowboy combination.
So you like the blued guns, eh? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Actually,
see, I'm a stainless guy, man. See, for me, it would be the 686,
yeah, I can see it though.
but
Well,
fundamentally the same gun.
yeah, the one of the nice things about the blued within the context of the revolver is that it looks like a cowboy gun or like something that the CHP would have, something that you would just see on the road like a policeman might have had back in the 1970s. And it's a great look, I think. And when you're dealing with people who are unfamiliar with firearms, sort of like, don't scare the horses. You can do whatever you want, just don't scare the freaking horses. You can hang out with them, just don't scare them.
Yeah,
And
yeah. You can get shot for that shit, man.
Again.
yeah, so sorry, here actually, Babs, I'm sorry, but you've invited too many people, and so I have to kick you, Babs. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah,
Let the purge begin.
I know it happens. There's nothing I can do, and it sucks because I actually like Babs. I think he's really funny.
Yeah, I like Babs too. He's unironically one of the only Hebes that I would spare in the
No, dude, I would
Rahoa.
full on like if he lived in LA, I would actually I would cook him a meal. I would cook him a steak. I would have him over for a beer, and it'd be awesome.
I actually would too. Yeah, no, I really like him. He's fucking solid.
Yeah. At any rate, yeah, there's a concept with the revolver and the lever action, and the idea is that a civilian would look at those things and they would not be scared. They would look at you like you're a weirdo. And here in California, there would be some people that would pee themselves, but in general, the average person would look at you like you're a freak and a weirdo because you have sort of a quasi cowboy look about you. And there's still a little bit of play with that in the positive sense.
Yeah, no, they're not Lay's scary black military assault fucking 6 gorillion fucking deaths per second weapons, So no, dude, I totally feel you. It's weird because for you in the super mega paused environment that you're in, I mean, for dude here in Arizona, fucking everybody and their dog owns an AR. So it's not quite the same, but at the same time, yeah, I feel you on the. It's almost like Ma optics when it comes to firearms. It's like they you're trying not to scare the shit out of people, but you want to defend yourself, and so you're kind of trying to find that road. The other thing too is that if you have a nice revolver in say 357 Magnum, and then you have a lever action carbine in the same caliber, well, you've got the advantage of having you have the advantage of having two weapons that each fire the same round, and so you only have to worry about the logistics of that one round. So that is a major advantage.
This is one of the reasons why I still in the back of my head kind of want one of those. I forget what the company is called. It's like Wolf Industries or something like that. And they have something that resembles an AR, but it takes 9mm rounds and Glock magazines.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, what is that fucking company?
I forgot.
Dude, it's not Wolf, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a sweet setup. It's weird, Eke. Let me just go off on a little firearms lore tangent here real quick. It's funny how back in the 80s and the 90s you had submachine guns were all the rage. The MP5.
I love it. Blow their fucking heads off. Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I'm blocking everyone. I might even start a new stream if this keeps up.
We're being invaded, dude. See, this is why we need firearms, that Gabe, because at some point, just enough is enough, man.
Yeah.
But not that I'm advocating for violence against any of our viewers, but yeah. But no, dude, look, so I'll make it less long-winded and just say that it's funny to me how there's been this like full circle kind of revolution of how you had at one point submachine guns, which obviously fire pistol caliber rounds, were all the rage, and this was mainly due to the MP5. I mean, you had police and military around the world adopting the MP5 as their standard, SWAT and other, special weapon. But then they fell out of favor because the proliferation of body armor was making it to where the submachine guns firing pistol calibers just weren't cutting it anymore. And so you had this big push. Everybody was moving to short-barreled rifles and short-barreled carbines, and they were
blow
getting
their
away from that
fucking
shit.
heads up. Yeah.
Good Lord.
I think I'm going to make a new stream. All right, I'm making a new stream right now.
Is it time? All right, do it.
Yeah. I'm going to make a new stream. All right, here we go. I'm going to end this right now, and we're making a new stream. Here we go.
Shut it down.
That's right, shutting it down.